the heartbeat of the market. The sun had not yet risen, but the market was already awake. The air was cool and crisp, filled with the earthy smell of fresh produce, fish, and spices. The early morning mist still clung to the pavement. As the market women began their day, Amaka, one of the longest-standing vendors at the market, arrived with her basket of vegetables balanced on her head. She moved with the grace of someone who had done this every day for over 20 years. As she approached her usual spot, she greeted her neighbors with a wide smile and a gentle nod. The market was like a second home to her. The hustle, the noise, the conversations. It was all a part of the rhythm she had grown accustomed to. Her friend Ngozi, who sold spices, was already there, setting up her stall with colorful bags of turmeric, ginger, and dried chili. "Amaka, you're early today," Ngozi called out, wiping her hands on her apron as she made her way over. "Yes," Amaka replied. "I have to make sure my tomatoes are fresh before the crowd comes. You know how it gets by midday." The two women shared a laugh, enjoying the quiet before the market's usual chaos began. As the vendors set up, the morning fog lifted, and the market slowly came to life with the sound of bargaining, chatter, and the occasional shout of excitement. By noon, the market was in full swing. The air was thick with the mingling scents of food, dust, and sweat. The sound of haggling filled every corner as women and men alike negotiated prices. But even amidst the commotion, there was an unspoken bond among the market women, a bond that transcended the business transactions. Ngozi and Amaka took a break from their stalls. Leaning against the stone wall of the market square, it was their usual time to chat, catch up on family matters, and share the gossip of the market. "How is your son, Tunde?" Ngozi asked, taking a sip from her water bottle. Amaka smiled wistfully. "He's doing well, thank you. He's in university now. It feels like just yesterday he was running around here with my baskets." "You've done well for him, Amaka," Ngozi said, her voice full of admiration. "You've given him a future." Amaka nodded. "We all do what we must to make sure our children have better lives, don't we? But it's not always easy. Some days I wonder if I'm doing enough." Ngozi placed a hand on her friend's shoulder. "You're doing more than enough. You're doing the work of 1,000 men, and we both know it." The two women exchanged a knowing look. The sacrifices they made, the long hours spent in the market, the countless struggles, all of it was for their children, for their families, for the community. As the day drew to a close, Amaka packed up her remaining goods, carefully counting her earnings for the day. She was just about to head home when the loudspeaker above the market crackled to life. "Attention, attention!" the voice echoed through the market. "The local government has announced that construction will begin soon on a new road project that will run through this market. All vendors are advised to vacate the premises by the end of the month." A wave of shock rippled through the crowd. Vendors began to murmur, and whispers of confusion spread like wildfire. Amaka stood frozen for a moment, unable to comprehend what she had just heard. The market was the heart of the community. It was the place where women like her had worked for generations. How could they be forced out? She turned to Ngozi, who was staring at the loudspeaker with disbelief. "We can't let them do this," Amaka said, her voice trembling. "This market is our livelihood." Ngozi nodded, determination building in her eyes. "We will fight for this place. We have to." And so, with the weight of their families and their community on their shoulders, the market women decided to take a stand. The days that followed were filled with meetings, petitions, and protests. Amaka and Ngozi worked tirelessly, speaking with the other vendors, organizing rallies, and speaking to anyone who would listen. The market women had spent their lives here, and they weren't about to let the government take it from them without a fight. "We can't just give up," Amaka said one evening as they sat in a small group, discussing their next steps. "We have to make them understand what this means for us." Ngozi added, "We are the backbone of this community. If this market goes, it's not just about losing our businesses. It's about losing everything we've worked for." The women rallied together, organizing a protest that would take their case to the local government. They walked the streets chanting, holding signs, and making their voices heard. They knew it wouldn't be easy, but they were prepared to fight. Weeks passed, and the battle for the market grew more intense. Amaka, Ngozi, and the other vendors did not back down. The government, seeing the growing unrest and the sheer determination of the market women, finally agreed to reconsider the project. A month later, they received the news they had been waiting for. The road would be rerouted, and the market would remain in its place. Amaka couldn't believe it at first. She stood in the market, surrounded by her fellow vendors, tears in her eyes as she hugged Ngozi. "We did it," she whispered. "We fought for our home and we won." Ngozi smiled, her face beaming with pride. "We didn't just fight for ourselves. We fought for every woman who has ever worked here, for every woman who has ever had to sacrifice for her family." The market was saved, and with it, the livelihoods of countless women. The bond of the market women had proven unbreakable, and together they had shown that when they stood united, nothing could tear them down. Amaka stood at her stall the next morning, the sun shining brightly above. She had learned something during the battle for the market, something that had been passed down from woman to woman for generations. The market was more than just a place of business. It was a place where women found their strength, their voice, and their power. It was where they supported each other, fought for each other, and ultimately triumphed together. As Amaka watched the morning crowd slowly begin to gather, she knew that the heartbeat of the market would continue as strong as ever. And for as long as she stood there, she would be part of that heartbeat, just like every woman before her.